Welcome to the Minding My Business podcast. You are tuned in to the #1 platform to launch or scale your business by developing your business mindset. And today, we're going to light up the scoreboard because we're talking about the price is right. Remember that old school game show? One of my favorites. Bob Barker calling people down. The price is right. So today we're going to talk about a couple of areas in business that you got to get the price right. Okay, number one, we're going to talk about pricing your people. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about that, but really we're talking about the structure of your commission and how do you set up the right environment for your business to thrive. Secondly, pricing your product. How do I put a price on my service? How do I value my service? How do I change that when the time is needed? And then third, pricing your process. Yeah, what's the investment going to be? What's the price that I'm going to pay for me to go all the way? What do I need to do to get to where I need to go? You got to price your process. So I'm excited about this topic, and I'm glad to have you all back. You know I like to wear hats, so today this hat is brought to you by the brothers over at Amanos Pizza in Matawan, New Jersey. They got 2 locations. Check them out. Some of the tastiest pizza you could ever have. Definitely, if you're in the city of New Jersey or in New York, commute over and check out Amanos Pizza. All right, let's get to it, y'all. The price is right. Now, if you ever watch the game show, you know the premise of the show is that they call people out of the audience, come on down. And they come on down so they get to their podium and they have to then bid on a random product that is going to be put before them. And whoever gets the price closest gets to play and go to the next round. So when we talk about pricing your people, some of those things are still happening. Having been a salesperson for a very long time, it's always important for me to look at the commission structure of a specific company, look at the job that I'm applying for, and I start doing the math in my head. And a lot of times, salespeople can do the math incorrectly. There's times where the company misrepresents the math, and you get people excited about being able to make this amount and that amount without really talking about what's going to be needed for you to be able to do that. That's one of the areas that we want to talk about in the Price is Right with pricing people, is setting the right expectations. But the other thing is actually setting up the right commission structure. So let's start there. If you have a sales team or a position that you'd like to add some incentives, right? Add something for people to push for a little bit more, whether it's a commission, whether it's a bonus. Being able to identify what's the right amount can sometimes be a little tricky. If you pay a little too much, you can hurt your bottom line, and you can also create some other things in your team that you didn't want to create. People can sometimes get a little lazy and a little puffed up when it's too easy to make a lot of money in a specific position. If you pay too little, sometimes that impacts the commitment level of the people that you hire. So you want to be able to consider a couple of things when you're creating a commission structure. Here's one of the principles that I love to share with you is understand that your commission structure will create the behavior of your sales team. And you want to create it in a way where you are incentivizing for the KPIs, the key performance indicators, the metrics that really push the business forward. You want to set it up so that those metrics also match the behaviors that you want. Here's what I mean. If you want to have more volume, then you have to make sure that your commission structure incentivizes people to have more volume. If you want people to be able to have bigger deals as opposed to more volume, bigger deals, higher price products, things of that nature, then you can add incentives that create that behavior. Hey, if I sell a little bit more, or if I increase this order by this amount, I get incentivized. Now you're creating the behavior to match the metric that you want to move. So that's the first thing that you want to keep in mind, is to make sure that your commission structure matches the behaviors that you are looking to create for your sales team. Another thing that you definitely want to make sure is that everyone's clear on what the commission structure is. So have it written out in a couple of different ways, examples that are realistic. And it's okay to say, hey, the top 5% of the people do this if there's that potential, but definitely make sure that it's realistic. Employees will lose confidence in your product and service, and they can lose as well credibility in you if what you promise is not what they are seeing. Now, listen, everyone's had that situation, that experience when you thought you were going to get paid a certain amount, whether you're on commission or not, and then your check comes on Friday or the 15th or whenever you got paid, and you're like, that is not my check. It was just way too small. It was a lot smaller than what you expected. So I'm not saying that you're going to be able to avoid that completely. However, you can create a real toxic environment by putting people on cloud nine with numbers that are not real just to get them in. I mean, the amount of money that you're spending to recruit people just to mislead them and then them have to go right back outside, it's not worth it. Better yet, maybe you have to look at how you are structuring your commission. If you're experiencing this, I want you to be real about it and ask yourself a couple of questions. Why do you feel like you need to misrepresent how much someone's going to get paid at your position, at your job? Do you believe that people want to get paid more and that they deserve more for the job? Or is it something else? If you need to change your commission structure, maybe you are benefiting quite a bit and you're really giving a small piece to your team, then create some things that will help offset that. Create some tiers. Tiers is a really good way of not only getting someone to do a deal or a certain amount of sales, but to also start stepping up their value. Hey, you get $5 per deal, but when you do 20 deals in a week, I'll pay you $8. I'll pay you $10. And that way you have your top performers rising up and getting more volume. And again, the behavior is matching what you need to see rather than you saying, I'm going to pay you $2 a deal and not getting anywhere near 20 deals or 30 deals from that person because you're just simply nickel and diming them. Now, here's what happens when you have a really good, clean, understandable commission structure. People talk. Someone will feel good about telling their friend about this position. And you will find that you can attract some more of the top talent that's out there as opposed to people that will come in to try to sit on the clock and do nothing. So don't always blame the people. You have to look at your infrastructure and say, man, is the price right? Is the price right on this product? Is it fair? Is it right? Does it allow my people to be able to live? Everyone needs to live. They have to be able to get to work, pay their bills, keep their lights on. And those are some of the things that good employees, good salespeople look for. I was like Inspector Gadget. Yeah, I was like Inspector Gadget when it came to looking at commission structures, and I could tell where the principles of a business were and if it was something that I wanted to be a part of. I didn't look for the jobs that I felt didn't know what they were doing and were just paying way too much. Remember, that's an issue too, because you could find yourself paying a lot for a sale where it's not that much work. You're going to have a lot of value and you're leaving yourself less profit. So I want you to consider this. In digital marketing, there's something referred to as the A-B testing. A-B testing is when you take two different variables of marketing and you test them both to see which one works well. So figuring out what the best commission structure is going to be for yourself could require a little testing. Maybe start off with one or put two different people out on one. Or maybe don't even put it out there. Just do a test and say, hey, if I did the structure this way and someone made 35 sales and someone did this and did that and plug those numbers in and see how much they would get paid. And do that, adding with all of the hourly or whatever else you get paid, and see for yourself, is that what you want someone to be making? Would you be proud that someone is making that, selling that amount of product for you? Do a second scenario with a different type of commission flow and see what that brings about. And maybe even have some people look at it. Salesperson that you trust, another leader, but do an A/B test so that you can put out the best structure, not just for the business, because what's the business without the people, without the employees who can service your customers? All right. So remember, get the price right. Okay. Another area that you have to get the price right is you have to price your product correctly, your product or your service. This can always be a little tough. Of course, you want to do some research. One of the things that I did is I looked at, industry standards, simply just taking Google and taking the time to find out what are people charging for the services and the products that I have, a little competitor analysis. And then bringing it back to yourself to evaluate what are the differences between my product and that product. Here's a key thing that I think a lot of people miss is depending on where you are in your business, what's your objective right now? Maybe your product is worth more. Maybe it does cost more. But if you're just starting off, or if you are trying to introduce a new brand to the market, could it benefit you to price it lower so that you can get the value out there, so that more people can see the product, taste the product, try the product before you elevate it to what the product should be priced at? That is one of the things that you want to think about. It's not just the price of the product. It's what's your objective at the same time as well. When pricing your product, you need to be able to really share your value statement. People have to be able to understand how important your product is to them. It can't just be, this is the best product ever. It's exciting. It's going to be big. All right. It just can't be that. You have to actually have some specifics. When we say value statement in sales, a value statement is where you take a feature of your product, you share the benefit of that product, and then you transition that to a value statement. See, a feature is just something specific about the product. A benefit is what that feature does for someone. But a value statement is how the customer can see what that feature is going to do for them. So you have to be able to really communicate your value statements so that people can get and understand the value. Now, some things are a little bit easier to price than others, where you have material products and you can Google and search and find similar products, different manufacturers, and just get an idea of what you want to charge for something. Could be a little bit easier than a service like massage, or how do I price my tattoos? How do I price my speaking? How do I price my coaching? Tutoring, things of that nature, especially when you have a lot more experience in the field than someone else. So for example, let's say that you'd like to do private tutoring. Yeah, the going rate could be $10, $15, $20 an hour, but it may not feel that way if you have a master's degree in mathematics and you are teaching calculus and how to calculate how far the sun is from the moon to the, you know what I mean. It's not a math problem, but that's my point. You are out of this world. So you may feel a little cheated if you just look at how much should I charge as a math tutor. Here's what I would recommend. Definitely start with the industry standards as your baseline and start to go up from there based off your experience, based off tangible things that you can share, not just because you feeling yourself that day. Okay? I know you're the best. I know you feel the best. Mama told you you're the best. No, but really, what can you give evidence of? Is it a degree? Is it an amount of years in that field? Is it certain certifications that you have that would help you to be better than someone else at the role? So there's got to be some actual factual things that's going to help you to really justify that pricing thing. And that's one of the reasons why you want to keep developing yourself, keep adding to your resume and to your experience. But keep in mind, if you can't justify, then the price ain't right. The price probably is not right. So make sure you can justify your value and go out there and get your value. Now, number 3, I'm excited about because this is what puts it all together. The price is right. How to price your process. What do I mean by that? Pricing your process. There is a price to pay to get to where you want to go. There's a price to pay to become who you dream to be and to not only own and drive the things that you aspire to have, the things that are written on your goals, but there is a price to pay to just become the person that's able to create that reality. So what price are you willing to pay? You got to price your process. People who try to take shortcuts are cheap. They don't want to pay the price. And what they end up doing is delivering lower results, lower than what they could have created for themselves. So there's too many people that invested in you, whether it have been your parents, or even if you didn't come up with a great family background, there was a teacher, there was someone along the way that invested in you. They invested time and their expertise for you to now cheapen your process because it might just cost a little bit more than what you thought. Now, I want you to hit a like button if you have ever been through what I'm going to talk about right now, because one of the most annoying things for me, embarrassing, is if I go somewhere and I'm looking to purchase something and I swipe my card and that thing declines. Decline. Hold on. Let me try one more time. Let me just maybe. And it declines again. And the people try to be nice to you, right? They're like, oh, well, unfortunately, it did not go through. Do you have another form of payment? Yeah, I do. Give me a second. You pull out that second card and start praying. Oof! Decline. Man, right? I've been there. And it can be embarrassing because people might just think, how does that happen? Don't you know how much you have in your account? Listen, the way that my checking and my saving works, the checking goes into the savings. Sometimes things are coming in and out and you really just don't have enough. And when you decline, it's embarrassing because people see that, right? Hit that like button if you know what I mean right there. Here's why I share that with you. When you don't pay the price of waking up early, of cutting out the bad habits, of being able to look at what needs to be done, reading the books, researching, just changing your mindset, getting out of the negative, right? When you don't pay the price, when you go to swipe in life for the things that you want, it's going to decline. And that's a bad feeling. It's a bad feeling to know that you have something that you want and you have the ability to go get it, but you just did not pay the price. You didn't make sure there was enough in the account for you to transact. So you have to price your process. Price how much it's costing you to stay and sleep in. How much is it costing you right now? And make a switch. Because it's not going to just approve. You know the feeling? You're just hoping it approves. There's an extra $100 that just gets deposited and it approves. It's not going to happen. What's going to happen is that you're going to have to make the decision to make sure there's enough money in that account. And the way that you do that is you start paying the price every day for the things that you want. So I want you to price your process. Start writing down your goals and let's get to it. All right? The price is right. If you haven't accomplished the goal yet, the price is right. It just may be a little bit more than you anticipated. Okay? So let's get to it. Minding My Business family, I believe in you and I know you can do it. I want you to like and share this podcast with someone that you know can benefit from it. Now, I've got some exciting news coming for you next week. So please tap in as we are going to share some more things with you. And as always, to climb to the top, let's keep minding our business. I'm your host, JD Auguste. See you later.